Hi, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about non-alcoholic beer, or to be more precise, non-alcoholic lager, which is what I'm going to test today. Now, I'm actually a big fan of non-alcoholic lager. I think it's great because it gives you the same sensation as having a beer. If you're out and about, if you're in the pub or somewhere else, then it's better than drinking water or Coke or soft drink. It gives you that same sort of mental sensation without obviously having any alcohol in it. So what I wanted to do in today's video is test out 8 of some of the most famous beers around that have 0% options. Well, they're not all 0%. Some of them I think are slightly more alcohol, 0.4, 0.5. And just to clarify that, the way these beers are made is exactly the same process as you would make normal beer. So it goes through the fermentation process. You have yeast in there, which starts to ferment to create alcohol. However, all or the vast majority of that alcohol is then removed. And I think this is the key difference to when I was young. There was one brand in the UK that you could buy called Caliber, came in a bottle, and it was absolutely disgusting. It tasted nothing like beer. And the reason for that was because it was a false way of making beer. They tried to create a drink that tasted like beer, and it didn't. So these beers are much better. The technology is much better today in terms of removing that alcohol. It's a bit like caffeine-free coffee. It tastes pretty similar. So what I'm going to do is test all of these. And now, first point of order, if you're having a beer ever, you need to make sure it's cold, because if you don't have a cold beer, there's no point. So these are all nicely refrigerated. They've been in my fridge for quite a long time. So I'm going to start them off now. And just so I'm not showing any favoritism whatsoever, I've ranked them here in alphabetical order. So they're not in any special order of my favorite to my least favorite. It's just alphabetical. So I've got 8 beers. We've got Asahi, Biro, which is, so Asahi's Japanese. Biro is actually English. It's it's a new brand created by Tom Holland, the actor, who plays Spider-Man and lots of other things. I think he's dating Zendaya, quite famous. So he's created a beer that's non-alcoholic because he gave up drinking. He decided he was an alcoholic, and so he wanted to create his own brand. So we've got some of that. We've got this one, which is Brooklyn Special Effects, quite a jazzy bottle. Then got Corona in a can. You can also get that in bottles. Heineken in a can. You can also get that in bottles. Madri, which is pretty big now in terms of the general lager itself in the UK. It's one of the biggest brands. Moretti, the Italian brand. Madri, I think, Spanish. And Stella Artois. So, let's get started. We'll crack on with an Asahi. Now, in order to make it a level playing field, I'm going to decant them all into a glass. I think it's actually the best way of drinking these non-alcoholic beers anyway. I don't really like supping things from cans. So this one is 0.0%, so totally alcohol-free. Not even a hint of alcohol. You could have 100 of these and still drive your car. And I'm not sure I could drink 100 non-alcoholic beers, but let's see. So let's pour this out and see how it looks to start with, see what the head's like. So there we go. 330ml can, so same as a can of Coke, that sort of thing. So we've got a lovely golden hue here. You can see it's got a nice head on it, nice and golden. Looks good, looks like a beer. Smells. Now, this is, I think, where some of these beers go a bit wrong. This doesn't smell the same as an actual alcoholic lager drink. It smells slightly different. It's got a slightly artificial aroma to it. But ignoring that, let's see what it tastes like. That's the acid test. That's actually really nice. It does make a difference that it's cold. A cold lager like that, really nice. Now the head's disappeared pretty quickly, but that would probably happen with a normal beer anyway. That's actually quite palatable. It does taste similar to Asahi beer. I've had Asahi beer many times. It does taste similar to it. Obviously, with non-alcoholic beers, they're slightly thinner, so they don't have any aftertaste. That's the key difference, I think, when you're having non-alcoholic versus an alcoholic lager is when you have an alcoholic lager, after you've finished drinking it, the alcohol starts to hit you, it starts to affect you. So you get that sort of sensation where it's sort of warming and you instantly want a bit more. You know, that's the way alcohol works. It's quite addictive. So when you have some, you want some more. You don't get that same sensation with non-alcoholic lager. So it doesn't have the same aftertaste, doesn't have the same sort of moreish aftertaste. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I'm going to rank these from first to last today. So far that's number one because I've only had one. Pretty good though, pretty good. Okay, let's try Tom Holland's Biro. This one, it looks like now, at the moment you can only get this online and it's actually quite difficult to get hold of. So I got some of this a little while ago. I've now run out and this is the last can that I've got of this. He does 4 different types of beer in his collection. This is the lager, which is Kingston Golden Pils. Now, the reason he's called it Kingston Golden Pils is that he lives in Kingston. And he's from Kingston, so he's called it that. There are, I think, a couple of IPAs, so he's done a couple of beers, and there's also a wheat beer as well. They've all got different names. But let's have a look at the Kingston Golden Pils. Let's decant that and see how that compares to the Asahi. So it looks quite rich and golden in colour for a lager. It doesn't have the same head, so it hasn't got anywhere near the same head as we had with the Asahi. If we compare the colour of those, the Asahi is a lot lighter. This is a much darker, richer colour. So that looks like a urine sample, but it isn't. So let me have a taste of the Tom Holland Biro Kingston Golden Pils. Now, that is a much richer flavour. It's a bit more hoppy. It's a bit more along the road towards being like a beer. So this one tastes like a traditional sort of lager, quite thin. This one definitely tastes more like a beer. It's really tasty. It's got sort of a caramel aftertaste. Quite sweet, a lot sweeter than the Asahi. Really nice. In terms of does it taste like a beer? It does. That's really tasty. It's not as fizzy as the Asahi. Bit flatter, which is again similar to beer, but it does taste very nice. It doesn't have any of that aftertaste that you can get with some of the non-alcoholic beers. That's really tasty. So far we've tasted 2. Have to say, Biro definitely ranks ahead of Asahi. That's number 1. That's number 2 so far. Okay, let's have a look at this Brooklyn Special Effects Hoppy Lager. Now, this one actually has on the percentage front on the Biro, we'll just go back to that, it has, let me just check, 0.5% alcohol. So there is an element of alcohol in Biro. And I think the reason why a lot of the brewers do that is because they can't guarantee that all of the alcohol has been removed. Where you have a 0.0% one, they are guaranteeing there's no alcohol in that. Biro can't guarantee it, so there is a little bit in there. So you couldn't have 100 tins of this and then drive your car because you'd probably be over the limit. I don't know what the limit is, but you probably would. Now this one, Brooklyn Special Effects Hoppy Lager, has 0.4%, so slightly less than the Biro. And it comes in quite a jazzy bottle, quite fun. You can get this in supermarkets, so it's quite popular. Not sure who brews it. It doesn't say on it. Well, it might do, but the writing's extremely small. Can't read it. So, let me pour this out, see how it compares to the other 2. Well, for starters, it's way darker. Okay, that is very dark compared to these ones. Let me just see what it tastes like. Well, that's really interesting because it tastes more like a beer. It does say hoppy lager on it. It definitely says hoppy lager, but it looks like a beer and it tastes like a beer. It's nice. I mean, as beers go, it's quite tasty. It's quite palatable. What does it taste like? Yeah, it definitely tastes more like a beer. So if you're used to an ale when you go to the pub, the cask ales that they pull out, that's what this tastes like. I mean, if you look at the colour of it compared to these two, it's night and day difference. I mean, look at that compared to the Asahi. The Asahi, very, very pale. This one, very, very dark. It's nice, but it does taste more like an ale, and this is a lager test. So I think in terms of my ranking so far, I'm going to put Biro to the front, Asahi second, and Brooklyn Hoppy Lager is coming in at number 3. Okay, let's try the Corona Zero with a C. So rather than a Z, it's got a C on it. And this is 0.0%. Now, Corona is obviously a very famous brand, and if you drink real Corona, you know that it doesn't taste very alcoholic. It's actually quite weak. You can drink quite a lot of it. You don't really get drunk. A lot of people drink it when they're having barbecues or going down the beach, those sort of things. So let's have a look at what the Corona Zero looks like. Well, it's quite rich in colour. So if you compare it to the Asahi, way darker than the Asahi. Compare it to the Biro. Biro's a bit more orange. This one's a bit darker, brown. Got a good amount of fizz on it, quite a lot of bubbles. Let's see what it tastes like. And that's light. A little bit citrusy, tastes a little bit lemony. I haven't put anything in it, obviously. If you're having this in a bottle, then you might put a lime in it. That's what a lot of people do with Corona. It does taste a bit lemony. Again, very palatable, very drinkable. No nasty aftertaste that you sometimes get with non-alcoholic beers. That's pretty tasty. I like that. That's good. How does it compare to the Asahi? Let me just go back to that. Yeah, it's definitely better than the Asahi. How does it compare to the Biro? Is it going to go to number 1? I like the Biro. It's nice. A bit more beery. That's really good as a lager. It's nip and tuck. I think it's nip and tuck between Biro and Corona. I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to leave Biro at number 1 at the moment and Corona at number 2, but we'll go back to that and reassess towards the end. Okay, now we've got one of the biggest brands in the world, Heineken Zero. So if you go to sporting events, you'll see this advertised quite a lot. Heineken have put a lot of money behind Heineken Zero. It looks exactly like the Heineken can. That's basically, if you didn't know, you'd think that was a can of Heineken, but it does say 0% beer across the top here. So the branding is really good. It doesn't scream non-alcoholic lager in your face. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, pours well. Got a nice head on it. Nice golden, rich colour. Looks good. Looks like a beer. Looks exactly like a beer. Let's have a taste. Yeah, that's good. That is really good. Heineken know what they're doing in terms of making both lager and non-alcoholic lager. That's really good. Compare the colour of that to the Brooklyn. That's amazing. So much different. Similar to the Asahi. It's a bit lighter than the Corona. Interestingly, you took Corona and the Biro is very orange compared to that. That looks like a classic lager. It's really good. Tasty. Tastes like a lager. No bitter aftertaste afterwards. Doesn't give you any artificial vibes. You could definitely drink quite a lot of this. How does it rank to these ones? Let me just have a test. Could it overtake Corona? Let's see. Corona does taste nice. I think the Heineken's taking over the Corona. So it's definitely going to go in at least to number 2. Move these along a little bit. Is it nicer than the Biro? Yeah, the Biro is quite hoppy. The Biro, in terms of a lager test, it's more beery than lager. It does say Biro on it. It gives you a hint. So I'm putting Heineken back up to number 1. Okay, we've got 3 left to go. We've got Madri from Spain. As I said earlier, this is absolutely massive in the UK now. It's really come from nowhere. I've never heard of it a few years ago. It's now everywhere. You find this in supermarkets. Got a sort of entry-level beer, quite cheap. So you can get it in bars and pubs and stuff now as well. So this is called Exceptional Zero, and it says cerveza sin alcohol. So Spanish, it's 0.0 again, which means I can have 100 of these and still drive home. Let's see how it pours out. It's got less of a head on it. It's some head. Nice rich golden colour. Looks like beer. What's it smell like? Smells pretty good. How does it taste? Whoa, 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 no, no, no. Oh, I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all. That reminds me of the bad old days of non-alcoholic beer. I don't know what, I haven't had real Madri, but it can't taste like this. It doesn't taste like lager. I'm not sure what it tastes like. It tastes almost like a weird fruit drink that somebody's made to look like lager. It certainly doesn't taste anything like it. Yikes, that's not nice at all. Let's see if it's worse than the Brooklyn. Or at least the Brooklyn tastes like beer. This one, no, I really don't like that. At that, if you went out and somebody gave you one of those, I think after one of those, you'd be like, I don't want any more of this. Have you got something else? That's not nice. Didn't like the Madri. That's staying at the bottom. Moretti, so Italian, looks good, bottle's nice. This is 0, so it's another 0.0% alcohol-free beer with natural flavourings. Let's see what it's like. So at this point, if I was doing an actual lager test, I'd be feeling quite drunk, but obviously, as these are all alcohol-free, then I'm not feeling drunk at all, feeling totally sober. Now, this has probably got the best head, really big head, lots of carbonation in that, really fizzy. Good golden rich colour. What's it smell like? Smells good. Smells like lager. Very lively. Let me have another taste of that. I have to say that's got a sort of artificial, non-alcoholic, trying to be lager but not actually succeeding flavour to it. Again, reminds me of the bad old days of that very thin, tasteless. The aftertaste on this. Yeah, the aftertaste's really not very pleasant. So you have it, whilst it's in your mouth, it tastes a bit like a lager, but then when you stop drinking it, you get that sort of emptiness feeling of like, and a slightly weird aftertaste that doesn't make it very pleasant. In fact, no, that's not good. It's not as bad as the Madri. The Madri is definitely the worst. I think this Brooklyn one is going to carry on going towards the bottom as well. The Asahi I like. Let me just test that again. Yes, sorry, it's way better. So Moretti is now third bottom, but only because these two are worse. This isn't good. I wouldn't buy any of those three at all. Let's try one of the biggest brands in the world, Belgium's Stella Artois. So this traditionally called wife beater in the UK. If you drink Stella Artois, the actual beer, if you have 10 of those, then it sends you absolutely crazy. You go loopy. So I think they may have reduced the alcohol level in it from back in my day in the 80s and 90s when it really was loony juice. But this has got 0.0% alcohol in it, so this should be absolutely fine. But let's see what it tastes like and what it looks like. It's in a good bottle. Pours well. It's got a nice white head on it. Looks good. Very fizzy. A lot of carbonation in it. Looks nice. Nice rich golden colour. Bottoms up. Let's see what it tastes like. That's not bad. That's not bad actually. Does taste like lager. It's got that, has got quite a thin aftertaste to it. It's not bad though. Right, let me move these ones out of the way. So these are definitely the bottom three. I won't be having any more of that. Let's see how the Stella compares. I'm going to retest these 5 here to see where we get to. So I've just had some of the Stella. Okay, let's go back to the Heineken at the top. I have to say that's excellent. It's really good, really nice. Does taste like a lager. Doesn't give you any aftertaste. Really nice. Looks really good. Still kept a bit of its head. Biro. It's nice. It is a bit caramelly and a bit beerish. So if it was a beer, and I was ranking beers, great. As I'm ranking lagers, not quite sure. Corona. It's really nice, actually. Corona's overtaking Biro. It's going to go next to the Heineken for a moment. We'll see whether or not it gets past Heineken. Asahi. It has got a slight aftertaste. Having tested all of them like simultaneously, that does have a little bit of a lingering aftertaste of nah, non-alcoholic, nah. Stella, better. So the Stella is going to overtake these two. Let me just check. Asahi or Biro? I can really taste that aftertaste now, so I'm not even 1 can into that, and I'm already thinking I don't want any more of those. If I was at your house party and you said, would you like your 2nd can of Asahi? I'd say, no, thank you very much. Biro. Biro's nice, it's good, it's tasty. It doesn't really have an aftertaste, so it's good, but as a lager test, it's not going to win because it doesn't taste like lager, really. It tastes like beer. So that's the bottom 5. Here's the top 3. Heineken, Corona, Stella. Who's going to win? Who's going to come 2nd? Who's going to come 3rd? Let's have another go. I'll start this time. I'll give Corona a chance. I'll start with the Corona. I'll then taste some Heineken, some Stella, and then the Heineken. Corona's good. That's nice, tasty, not too fizzy. You could drink a lot of that. You could definitely have, if you're going to a party, you could definitely have 4 or 5 cans of that quite easily. Stella. Also really nice. Yeah, good. Heineken. That is good as well. So I think this is actually my final positioning. In last place, Madri, terrible. Don't buy it. Not nice. I'm not going to drink the rest of that at all ever again. I've got 3 more bottles of it. I'll be trying to pass them off to somebody when they come round and they're driving. I'll say, oh, I've got some lovely Madri. Have some of that. Have you watched my video? Good. You can have all the Madri. Brooklyn Special Effects Hoppy Lager. Well, I think they're right. Hoppy Lager. I mean, it's so dark. Doesn't look like lager. Doesn't taste like lager. Not very nice. Wouldn't have that again. Moretti. Got that aftertaste to it. That sort of unfortunate, non-alcoholic sort of lingering taste. So these 3, in my view, not worth buying. Wouldn't bother. Asahi, good. Tastes nice. Slight aftertaste to it. So it's put me off a little bit. It started off well. When it was fizzy, straight out of the can, it was okay. When I've gone back and retasted it, I'm not sure. So I wouldn't buy that either. So those 4 are not on my wish list. These 4, I think, are all good. Biro would have scored better if I was doing just a general beer test, but because it tastes like beer, like IPA, more of a sort of bitter, doesn't really taste as lagery. You can see it's a little bit cloudy, which is more like an IPA, which doesn't surprise me because the other 3 beers in the range are beers. This is lager. Just, if I compare it to the other ones, it's so much darker. So it's nice, but in a lager test, it's not going to win. So that's coming in at number 3. We've then got our top 3. Sorry, that's coming in at number 4. We then got our top 3. Heineken Stella Artois comes in at number 3. It's a nice bottle. It's cool. You can get it in most places. It's pretty low cost. Tastes good. Still tastes good now. Could definitely drink that. Number 2 is Corona, which you can also get in a bottle. I think you can get all of these in bottles, maybe apart from the Asahi and the Biro. You can definitely get Corona in a bottle. So if you're going out and about in a party or a barbecue, it's great because you can pop the lime in the top. It tastes exactly the same as the real Corona. That's good. Still tastes nice. You could definitely drink plenty of this. Really nice. But the winner of today's non-alcoholic taste test is Heineken Zero, which you can also get in a bottle, but I've got these in a can. It's a nice golden colour. It's retained some of its bubbles. It does taste nice. It tastes pretty similar to actual Heineken beer. In fact, probably nicer than Heineken beer. That's really nice. Got a bit of a caramelly taste to it. You could drink a lot of this. So cheers. Thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end. If you've liked what I've said, then please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Let me know if you want me to test something else. I'm happy with this idea of testing different things and trying to rank them. I think it's quite good fun. Hopefully you do too. I'm just sort of experimenting with different things on the food channel. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. You've enjoyed hearing about some non-alcoholic beers, which is sort of slightly different, I think. I'm thinking about doing the same sort of test, but for beers. So IPA, bitter, those sort of things. Maybe some of the punk guys, or Brewdog. I've got a whole lot of different things that I could try out. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end, and I'll see you again on the next. Cheers.